What's up, everybody? It's your girl Jessie Thrill, and I'm coming to you right now with another banger, another banger. Alright, let me stop. Anyways, at least I think it's a banger. I don't know. Look. All I can say is this. I don't know what the heck that is. Are you looking at me like that, homie? Anyways, this is 15 wild animals that have rarely ever been seen. And this is from, hold on, I gotta minimize this, the Genius Lemon channel. So if you want to go through there and subscribe like I just did, excuse me, I'm so sorry, I should have been subscribed to this channel. Alright, one more again. This is 15 wild animals that have rarely ever been seen. Alright, so we're gonna make this a little Genius Lemon day, and we're gonna watch this one as well as 15 abnormal large animals that actually exist. So we're going to do 2 abnormal wild creatures, kind of like a, what do they call it, binge watch, whatever the word is. You guys know what I mean. But we're going to watch 2 videos, okay? Alright, 15 wild animals that have rarely ever been seen, and 15 abnormal, like unusually large animals that actually exist. So let's get into it. Now we'll be watching this one right here, not this one. I don't know, but we'll be watching this one down here. Alright, anyways.
Wild animals that have rarely ever been seen. In truth, we humans know very little about the intricacies of the animal kingdom. New species are discovered almost every day, with 270 being discovered in 2018 alone. This means there are animals out there who have only rarely stepped out in front of human eyes. Some of you may have never even heard of. These are wild animals that have rarely ever been seen. Number 15, Shoebill Stork. Easily one of my favorite animals nobody has ever heard of, the Shoebill Stork is basically nature's tribute to the Muppets. While most people have never seen one of these things in person, those that see even photos of the creature find it to be pretty frightening. I actually think it's cute in a weird kind of way, but then I love the Muppets, so I'm biased. Shoebills tend to live in Eastern Africa, making their home in the wetlands near the Nile. And while most people have never seen them in person, there's no mistaking them for any other animal. They can grow up to 5 feet tall, their wings are over 8 feet wide, and that bill, oh boy, that bill. Anybody that encountered one of these animals in the wild would remember it, for sure. But perhaps one of the most notable things about the shoebill is the way that it moves. Get ready for some nightmare fuel. Shoebills have the frightening ability to stand perfectly still for hours on end, while holding their bills against their necks, exposing their golden eyes and making any rational human soil their pants. Very few people have seen a shoebill in the wild, but those that have will tell you, it's definitely not the kind of Muppet you'd want to show your kids. Like this video, smash the subscribe button, and click the notification bell right now, or Slenderman will come from under your bed when you're sleeping. Now it's time for the juicy topic. Of all the rare animals we are showing you today, this fella has to be the rarest of them all because this photo is literally the only piece of evidence that such a creature exists. Louise Jenkins was taking an early morning stroll in an Irish forest when she spotted this majestic creature and was truly mind-blown. What is it? Where did it come from? These were the questions running through Miss Jenkins's mind. faster than Barry Allen. She says,
all I can say about this majestic looking animal is, first of all, it looks like it's mixed with other different animals. It doesn't look like a specific type of an animal. Okay? First of all, it's got the deers of a horn. Horns of a deer. Then it almost looks like it has additional horns beside the horns, like the ears are supposed to be horns or something. I have no idea. And then the way that the fur goes in the middle is almost like a horse or something, or a fox. Like, this looks like somebody had a different type of situation and got pregnant by multiple animals. Yeah. But anyways, a little creepy to think about, but I don't know what to think of this animal other than awkwardly beautiful. I don't know how else to word it, but let's keep going.
Was a kind of confident creature who let her pet his fur and did not run in fear. But when Louise posted this image to Facebook asking if anybody knew what it was, she was accused of faking the whole thing. She insisted it was real, but people smartly pointed out that video footage would be far more believable than a still image. She claimed she just didn't think to film it because she was so blown away and bedazzled. Frustrated with being mocked, Louise has been obsessively trying to spot the creature again, going to the same spot at the same time every day for 5 years now. But she's never spotted it since. What do you think? Is Louise full of nonsense, or does this magical creature truly exist? As always, comment down below with the hashtag #JuicyTopic. And
all I can say is people will never believe her. I have a hard time believing her myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm in part of the group of people that said a video would have been given it more justice to believe. But not saying that she's lying, because when people see certain creatures, certain animals, and things of that nature, sometimes it's just for them to see, to believe that there is, a God or something, because things are not meant for us to understand. Certain things are not for us to understand. He is the creator of all things on this earth. So, for her to have been the only one, because who's to say that she has been the only one to see this creature? She's just the only one that's been able to get some kind of proof that she's seen it. When some people see things, they don't think to do anything, or they don't have the means to do it at the time of seeing it. Because you might go outside to take out the trash, and you done put your phone on the countertop as you're picking up the trash, and you're looking like, do I move? Do I run? So she just might have been the only one who has been able to capture an image. So I don't know if I would have been able to capture an image or record it, because I would have been in disbelief, in awe of trying to understand what it is I'm seeing. So there's an upside and a downside to the situation.
Let us know your opinion in relation to what we just showed on screen. Let's move on to the next one. Number 14, the pangolin. Like many humans, some animals are naturally shy and would rather not be encountering humans out in the wild, especially if those humans are actively trying to kill them. For the harmless pangolin, this tragic fate is a daily reality, and may explain why so few people have seen them in the wild. The pangolin is considered to be the world's most trafficked mammal, not including humans, with poachers killing tens of thousands every single year. Their meat is considered a delicacy for ultra-wealthy citizens in China and Vietnam, while their scales are frequently used in traditional Chinese medicine. As a result, every species of pangolin is considered to be either critically endangered or vulnerable, perhaps explaining why it's so hard to see one in its natural habitat. Several animal rights organizations have voted to ban pangolin poaching, but it may well be too late to reverse the declining population. Many people continue to search for pangolins in the wild, though it's becoming an increasingly difficult challenge to do so. These peaceful and shy animals are dwindling in population year on year, meaning many of us will just have to settle for pretty photos. Number 13, the Seneca white deer. There aren't many animals that are the focus of conspiracy theories, but the Seneca white deer has enough for the whole animal kingdom. It seems nobody can fully agree about where these beautiful animals came from, which only makes them more magical, or if you're a conspiracy nut, concerning.
Back then, my mom knew that good nutrition would help me grow up healthy and happy. I'm a mom now, and my son is a grubber baby too.
Theories range from an army experiment gone wrong, to radioactive genetic mutation, to the idea that they're actually ghosts. If all of those sound a little too ridiculous for you, you can also just choose to trust the scientists that claim they have some slightly different genes to regular deer. Even if it is a little boring by comparison, while the white deer is hard to find in the wild, they've been around since at least 1941, when they began thriving inside of a fenced-off area of land designated for the U.S. Army. While most of the deer were your typical expected brown deer, some had this unusual and extremely noticeable white coat, which immediately launched the conspiracy theories we know and love today. Today, the Seneca white deer is a rare animal to spot in the wild. But thanks to its naturally bright coat, it's a hard one to miss if you do happen to stumble upon it. The only question is, where did it come from? And the answer is, we don't know. Number 12.
Okay, so the answer is, we don't know. Well, it's not for you to know. Like I said. Okay, for example, you know how two African American partners, male and female, come together and they're just extremely black, but they have a child together that is way, way, way brighter than them. I believe it's the same way that it can happen with other species, like deers. Could be. Who's to say?
The elephant shrew. Now we move on to an animal whose very name is a complete contradiction. The elephant shrew is a big little animal that's not at all related to the shrew family and isn't close to being anywhere near the size of an elephant. Confused already? Excellent. The elephant shrew is a very small mammal measuring anywhere between 10 and 30 centimeters. However, despite this tiny little frame, they're more closely related to animals like elephants than to any kind of true shrew, which explains the name, if not the genetics. These are animals that can survive in pretty much all kinds of habitats, from jungles and forests to plains and mountains all over the world. and yet nobody ever sees them. Why is that? Well, for one, they're so small that you probably just wouldn't see them, but also they're one of the fastest small mammals on the planet, capable of reaching speeds up to 17.9 miles per hour. The elephant shrew is easily one of the more bizarre animals on our planet, and one of the most memorable. A tiny little animal like this being related to something as large as an elephant is definitely one of Mother Nature's more unique creations. Number 11, the northern hairy-nosed wombat. With a name like the northern hairy-nosed wombat, you know this is going to be a fun little animal to talk about. And it really is one of the more adorable things you'll ever see, which makes it all the sadder to know that they're critically endangered. But man, are they cute! Like pretty much all wombats, this species is pretty heavy, with a stocky body, short tail, and short solid legs. But this is also an animal that is incredibly rare to see outside of zoos or animal facilities. Due to its fundamental nature, this is the largest known herbivorous burrowing mammal in the world. And when an animal prefers to spend its time underground, it makes it pretty tricky for the rest of us, ordinary people, to find them in the wild. In addition, male and female wombats look pretty much the same, although the males tend to be a little shorter than their female counterparts. Still, the northern hairy-nosed wombat is one of the most adorable animals you've never seen, and hopefully with ongoing conservation efforts, the species can be protected from environmental dangers. We need more adorably cute animals like the hairy-nosed wombat, as our world is going to hell around us. Number 10, the Yanks' finless porpoise. It often seems that the rarest creatures are also the most adorable, and that is, to some degree, accurate. In the case of the Yanks' finless porpoise, there's just something about the animal's smile that is completely charming and sweet. But sadly, this is another animal whose rarity is involuntary. Much like its descendant relative, the now extinct Yangtze River dolphin known as the baiji, it seems there has never really been a time in which the finless porpoise was not facing extinction due to changing climate, habitat fragmentation, and a rapidly increasing loss of food. This is an animal that is constantly in danger of disappearing off the face of the planet. As a result, very few people are able to find these beautiful creatures in the natural wilderness. Still, at least we have videos and photographs to remind us of just how truly gorgeous they are. Today, there are only around 1,012 finless porpoises in the world, making these a critically endangered species. While some individual porpoises are living in zoos and aquariums around the world, the animal is all but impossible to find in the wild without a whole lot of luck. Number 9. The Borneo pygmy elephant. If Reno is the biggest little city in the world, then the Borneo pygmy elephant is surely the smallest large elephant on the continent of Asia. Okay, so
there was a break-in happening at my house, and with ring alarm, I just pushed a button on my phone, and I skipped.
Well, it's not quite as impressive when you phrase it like that, but it's got such a good ring to it that we're not going to backtrack now. The Borneo pygmy elephant is the smallest elephant in the world, and is, as expected from the name, incredibly cute, with its baby face, big belly, large ears, and its long tail. These are the most adorable elephants in the world. Seriously, Dumbo has nothing on this little guy. The adorableness makes sense, as these animals are the descendants of domesticated elephants that belonged to sultans in the 17th century. They were essentially pets for rich people. Thanks to evolution and genetic changes, the Borneo elephants became much smaller, though their ears continued to grow larger, giving them their unique appearance. The Borneo pygmy elephant is considered to be an endangered species, with very few living in zoos around the world. For these very gentle animals, their safety and well-being is reliant entirely on their environment being protected, which is perhaps why they don't tend to go out in the wild often. Number 8. The black-spotted couscous. Contrary to popular belief, the couscous is not the live version of the similarly named grain. I had to check multiple times because I was convinced. But it turns out that's apparently just a hilarious coincidence. In actuality, the couscous is a little-known mammal that looks a little bit like a possum, so far from a vegetarian-friendly grain. With its unusual, vertically split pupils, arched front claws, and tail capable of grasping onto the trees in which it lives, it's hard to imagine that nobody can actually find these rare animals, especially since the black-spotted couscous is known only on the island of New Guinea. However, even there, it's very difficult to locate. Throughout its entire life, the black-spotted couscous has been the target of local hunters, who are currently the only known predator of this incredible creature. Combined with the often cited climate change and habitat alterations, it's clear why this magnificent animal has been all but vanishing from the face of the earth. Many experts hope to be able to reproduce and reintroduce the species into its natural habitat, though the continued problem of hunters poses a significant threat to that plan. We'll just have to hold out hopes for more couscous, not the food. Number 7, the purple frog. Frogs come in all sizes, colors, and
Holy
types
cow,
of poison,
it is purple.
which perhaps explains why nobody ever thought to look for the purple frog, a species that is located only in India and has been around for some 100 million years, yet many that visit are unable to find them, making their whole existence a question mark. The purple frog is known as a burrowing species, which some scientists claim is the reason why the animal was overlooked by the experts for so long. After all, who looks for frogs underground? The very first formal sighting of the frog came in 2003, which is incredibly late, given that scientists confirmed that the purple frog's DNA had been around for over 100 million years. That molecular experimentation also suggested that the species is very closely related to another family that exists on the Seychelles Islands. These two families appear to share some kind of ancestor that was ultimately isolated on two different areas of the planet. Despite being around since the dinosaurs were roaming the Earth, the purple frog still manages to elude humans at every turn. And when even scientists are unable to find one of these specimens, what hope do the rest of us have? Number 6, the hooded grub. As far as animal names go, the hooded grub does sound like some sinister creature from an HBO historical drama, but this animal actually dates much farther back than any television drama ever made. These critically endangered animals are over 35 million years old. Although they look pretty good for their age, the hooded grub can usually be found in southern Argentina, if it can be found at all. While they are pretty noticeable birds thanks to their black and white feathers, they've been named as a critically endangered species. It's estimated that there are only between 800 and 1,000 individual birds left on the planet, as a result of the devastating impact climate change has had on their natural habitat. With less snowfall, the lakes are drying up, killing off many of the food sources that the grub thrives on. Coupled with their very low reproductive rate, these animals seem to have many hobbies that keep them away from bedroom time. This means that few hooded grubs are able to survive and thrive. Thanks to the conservation efforts of multiple organizations, the hooded grub's population is now stable, though still critically endangered. While they're difficult animals to see in the wild, they're thankfully still with us. Number 5, the Philippine eagle. Now we come to a real contradiction of terms. The Philippine eagle is the biggest bird in the world, in terms of its length and wingspan, yet it's also one of the rarest and least seen birds on the planet. Try and figure that one out. Also known as the monkey-eating eagle, this bird is the national bird of the Philippines and is capable of living for up to 60 years. Initially, it was believed to only feed on monkeys, hence the alternative name, though this was later found to be untrue. In essence, the Philippine eagle is believed to be the apex predator in its range, capable of feeding on just about any prey that it considers worthy. From small bats to a 14-kilogram deer. To put that into context for you, the Philippine eagle weighs on average between 4 and 8 kilograms, so it's eating something double its weight. While killing this bird is illegal in the Philippines, carrying a whopping 12-year sentence, the deforestation of the eagle's natural habitat has led to a sharp decline in the species' population, making it all but impossible to spot one in the wild. Number 4, Southern Darwin's frog. Can you guess who discovered this frog? Yep, you guessed it, Charles Darwin himself famously discovered this unusual frog in Chile. while journeying around the world on the HMS Beagle. It was rediscovered by a French zoologist, André-Marie Constant Dumouriez. The animal was officially named the southern Darwin's frog. This rare species can be found in South America and prefers to thrive in forests, glades, and other natural areas near to slow-flowing rivers and streams. But all of that information is kind of useless as nobody ever sees the South Darwin's frog, thanks to its unique camouflage tactics. While chameleons and
Hold on, I was just thinking that too, for real, because the way that its body is, the color that it is, it looks like it could blend in pretty good with its habitat, so making it hard to spot it for our eyes as well as its prey and its enemies, the ones that want to eat him, that see that animal as its prey. So yeah.
other reptiles have an incredible ability to change their skin. Darwin's frog has no need to change anything. Thanks to its brown-green color, this is an animal that camouflages naturally. When faced with a potential predator, the frog lays on the ground as if it's a dead leaf. And, incredibly, it works. But it also means that nobody ever really sees them. Darwin's frog is now listed as a vulnerable species due to habitat loss caused by deforestation and climate change. But it's also entirely possible that the species has never been healthier, and that we're all just being misled by what we assume is a bunch of dead leaves. Number 3. The pygmy three-toed sloth. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but there's something about the sloth that is incredibly endearing. Perhaps it's just the lazy way it lives, or the fact that it's simply adorable. But there's something about these animals that you just can't help but love. Well, this one may be even cuter. Hell, everything pygmy's cute. The pygmy three-toed sloth can only be found on the Isla Escudo de Verduguas, a small island located just off the coast of Panama. Here, the sloth does everything that it could possibly hope for. Sleep, swim, sleep, eat, sleep, sleep, climb, down for 1 day per week to poop, sleep. Look, the life of a sloth is pretty enviable. We can all agree on that. The pygmy three-toed sloth is yet another magnificent wild animal listed as critically endangered. Though its ability to survive
Missed the shot. Saved the flavor. Blue moonlight sky.
cannot be understated. As the smallest member of the sloth family, the pygmy has a few genetic blessings that allow it to thrive, including camouflage, thanks to its coloring, stealth, thanks to its super slow approach to life, and remarkably strong hide, thanks to, well, it doesn't have to poop for a while, so lack of use? Look, I'm very jealous of the sloth, that's all you need to know. Number 2. The Ronaldo dwarf galago. With a name like that, you'd expect it to be some kind of Lord of the Rings type creature, but actually, you'd be pretty far wrong. The Ronaldo dwarf galago is a very, very cute little bush baby and the smallest known galago known to man. If you've never heard of a galago before now, welcome to the club. Native to its homeland, Tanzania, the Ronaldo dwarf galago makes its home in subtropical forests, and, true to form, its home is tiny. The entire species lives in an area less than 100 square kilometers in area, and even that is growing smaller by the year. As deforestation continues to destroy the dwarf galago's home, this species is becoming increasingly more endangered, landing on lists of the most endangered mammals on Earth year on year. And, since they're so tiny, it's almost impossible to locate and keep track of these animals for preservation purposes. With its wide eyes and big ears, the Ronaldo dwarf galago is one of the cutest animals you could ever hope to see, whatever the circumstances. It's just a shame that they're almost never seen naturally in the wild. As their name suggests, they'd have some amazing journeys. Number 1. The hairynosed. You know an animal is endangered when the Wikipedia image is a drawing instead of a photo. Well, the hairynosed, or hunter's antelope, is definitely endangered, and if it were to go extinct, it would also be a groundbreaking loss. The first extinction of a mammal on the African continent in modern times. The hairynosed was first discovered in Kenya in 1888, and was immediately characterized by their large horns and unusual eyes, which contain glands capable of marking their territory. But while they're easy enough to spot, there's just very little way for anybody to actually see one. Globally, there are only around 300 and 500 specimens left on Earth, and with no animals in captivity, the natural progressing decline of these animals suggests that there's very little that can be done to slow the eventual extinction of these magnificent creatures. The hairynosed has already been labeled as critically endangered, though little else can be done to save these animals. Sadly, it seems that these images will be the only way for most of us to appreciate the wonder of the hairynosed, and wondrous they are. Which of these animals do you most wish you could see? Let us know in the comments. Also, check out our other cool stuff showing up on the screen right now. See you next time.
Well, the one that I would like to see would be no, wait. Let me find it. This little guy right here. But anyways, that's the end of that video. On to the next.
Some animals are...
Alright. Now we are at the very last video. Excuse me. Which is 15 abnormally large animals that actually exist, which are animals that are rarely ever seen, but they are huge and big in size. People don't believe that they actually exist, but they actually do. Alright, ready? Here we go. I already don't like the first one. I never want to run across one of those things.
Some animals are big. Some are very big. Some are obscenely big. And some are so big you'll struggle to believe they are real. But we promise you from the bottom of our hearts that they are. These are abnormally large animals that actually exist.
That I probably never want to see.
Number 15. Crocodile. Meet Gustav. He's not a cool Swedish guy as his name might suggest, but instead a massive 100-year-old eating machine. Crocodiles are some of the most incredible predators in the world, and they are pretty comfortable with eating up a human being if there's nothing better on the menu. These animals have a super strong bite, and once they get a hold of something, they are not letting go, even if that is a human leg or any other body part. Let's face it, they're all going to hurt pretty bad. Out in the East African country of Burundi, life ain't easy. In fact, the World Happiness Report ranked the people of Burundi as being the 156th place in the world, otherwise known as last place. This tiny African country has a whole host of problems, not least having to share a cramped space with Gustav, the man-eating crocodile. Gustav weighs almost 2,000 pounds and is over 27 feet long, and has been made responsible for eating as many as 300 Burundians. In fact, he doesn't even always eat them, sometimes just killing people for fun and then leaving them there. Gee, what a nice guy. It was reported in 2019 that this elderly monster has gone to crocodile heaven. I'll bet Burundi will now shoot right up into the top 10 happiest nations. Like this video, smash the subscribe button, and click the notification bell right now, or this centipede will crawl on your face when you're sleeping. Now it's time for the juicy topic. You must have heard of the megalodon before, but if not, brace yourself. These things were mighty and colossal beasts, haunting the world's oceans with a fearsome might. But while most people believe the megalodon is a long-dead creature that has gone the way of the dodo, there are some people convinced that these things may still be out there, somewhere. They were huge, with their teeth alone being as tall as 7 inches. It's estimated that they could have been as big as 3 times the size of a great white shark. 54 feet in length. Yikes. I really do hope the theories aren't true and these things are dead, because I do not want to meet one. As always, comment down below with the hashtag #JuicyTopic and let us know your opinion in relation to what we just showed on screen. Let's move on to the next one. Number 14, rabbit. Being big runs in the family,
Whoa.
and the world's largest rabbit is sweating it out as he waits to see if he's going to lose his prestigious title to his own son. The giant bunny is known as Darius, and the British heavyweight weighs 50 pounds and measures 4.5 feet in length. That's about the same weight as the average male bulldog, and Darius is officially ranked as world #1 mega bunny. As you can see, his best buddy, 7-year-old Ava, has a hard time even picking him up. Now Darius, named for the mighty ancient ruler of Persia, faces a challenge from his own son, Jeff, named for the mighty and ancient, nope, they just called him Jeff, after some guy who works at 7-Eleven or something. In a story that seems to fit for Shakespeare, the young pretender Jeff is seeking to overthrow his father in a story of rivalry, betrayal, and a huge amount of carrots. The two beefy bugs are actually pretty good pals, at least for now, but with Jeff almost as big as his father and still growing, things could turn for the worse. And when giant rabbits start to fight, better run for cover like it's Godzilla vs. Kong. Number 13, cow. Holy cow! It's a huge cow! And not just any huge cow, but the hugest of huge cows of all time. Or something. At least she is in the Guinness Book of World Records as the tallest cow ever. And her name is Blossom. She is not maybe the most aesthetically pleasing cow ever, looking kind of like a giraffe trapped in a cow suit, or an obscure side quest boss from the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, but Blossom will forever be
pieces of
remembered for
steak
her
that would
massive
come from her.
6'4" height.
No, I'm
Although
sorry, let me
Blossom
quit.
may just be a ton of GMO wrapped in leather, she is a very sweet-natured cow. Or I should say was, as poor Blossom passed away after breaking one of her giant legs in 2015. Still, in spite of this sad end, Blossom will go down in history as a legendary bovine who towered above all her cloven-hooved friends. In this footage from 2014, we see Blossom taking a walk around a rain-soaked field in Illinois, where she lived with owner Patty Meads Hansen. Well, I mean, I guess Patty lived in a farmhouse nearby, not in the actual field with Blossom, but hey, who knows what kind of crazy stuff goes down in Illinois. Number 12, catfish. Imagine hitting it off with someone on
Whoa.
social media. You get talking, exchange cute pics, send each other your favorite playlists, get right into each other's souls, and then finally you meet, only to discover that the person you were talking to was not the version of loveliness that their photos had suggested, but in fact a 9-foot-long fish. A catfish, to be precise. And I think that's where this term comes from, when you think you're dating a human but it's a monstrous fish just pretending. Anyway, this French fisherman was almost as surprised at pulling out this record-breaking catfish from a river in France. And here is Jean-Christophe Congero posing with the champion fish. It's not too pretty, but hey, you sometimes just have to make do with whatever it is out there in the water. Once Jean-Christophe had done what he had to do with the measuring tape, this big monster was thrown back into the river where he belongs. In some cultures, especially in American South, catfish is a real delicacy. And I can tell you these are good eating, and one this big could feed 100 people. But let's be glad he's back in the water and not hanging out above the surface, bothering people on social media. Number 11, stingray. The Mekong River in Bangkok is home to some real monsters. This river, which runs through Thailand and is fed by the massive monsoons, which are part of the region's climate, is where giant freshwater stingray live, and these are
So these people just in the water, barefooted, bare hands, no type of protection, with a net, a plain net, with a stingray in it. That dude eyeballs looking up at these people like, yeah, I'm gonna sting you like I did your homie. Yeah. Go ahead and touch me. Touch me if you want to. I'm gonna stingray the mess out of you. I mean, look at his eyes. You can see his eyes. Look like a daggum cat eye, like circle, and then a large. Come on, man, bro.
some incredible fish, albeit kind of awkward and floppy when they are out of the water. In fact, scientists studying these flapping giants managed to fish out one particularly huge specimen, which they believe is the biggest freshwater fish of any kind ever caught by humans. Not far from Bangkok, Nantarika Chansu, a professor at the city's Chulalongkorn University, was out on a boat when she landed the 8 feet wide and 14 feet long ray. It was impossible to get an exact weight, since weighing these giants is kind of difficult and risks injuring the fish, but they were able to estimate a weight of around 700 to 800 pounds. This would make it one of the largest stingrays ever caught, and therefore one of the largest fish outside the ocean of all time. There have been recent random deaths of groups of these rays, and scientists are trying to figure out what the cause is before they suffer local extinction. Number 10. Python. Medusa was a mythical Greek monster with the head of a woman and hair made of snakes. Pretty insane. But what about a monster with the head of a snake and also the body of a snake? That's even worse. And what if that snake body was the biggest of all time? Truly terrifying, but that is what Medusa, the reticulated python, is. The biggest of all time. Back in 2011, she was recorded with a length of 25 feet and 2 inches, making the then 15-year-old the biggest ever held in captivity. She lives in Kansas City's Edge of Hell Park, where she certainly contributes to the infernal atmosphere. She is treated to a snake snack once in a while, usually the full carcass of an 80 to 100 pound deer or goat. After swallowing one of these, Medusa drops into a food coma for a few days, sleeping off her equivalent of 10 Thanksgiving dinners all at once. The world's biggest snake loves nothing more than having her handler, Larry Edgar, scratch her scales as she sheds an old skin, giving him a contented hiss as she settles in to her massage. Number 9. Pitbull.
I really don't know what to say about that one.
Earlier we had the rabbit the size of a bulldog. So now, how about the pit bull terrier that weighs as much as a snow leopard? Hulk, as he is appropriately known, belongs to Marlon and Lisa Grennan, and weighs a massive 175 pounds. In spite of his intimidating size, Hulk is a super friendly dog and a perfect companion for the couple's 3-year-old son, Jordan.
Aww.
The Grennans are the owners of an American pit bull breeding club and are determined to change people's perception of the breed, making them realize that these dogs, if well trained, are some of the most loyal and good-natured dogs out there.
I live out here in New Hampshire. There's no crime up here.
Still, they say they breed the dogs to be utterly fearless, so they can work as the ultimate protection dogs for people all over the world, which is all great for the Grennans, who own 12 of the breed, including the mighty Hulk. But what must life be like for their 13th dog, which is a Chihuahua? Well, as long as he has Hulk, who looks like he might have a little mastiff in his blood just to add to his fighting spirit, on his side, then I guess that's one chihuahua no one is going to mess with. Number
Alright.
8. Cat. Speaking of snow leopards, we are going to take a look at a domestic cat with something of a wild side. This is Barival, the Maine Coon, which are among the largest breeds of domestic cat, and Barival, from Italy, is the current champ, measuring a massive 4 feet in length, longer than a baseball bat. Out in the town of Vigevano, Pavia, Barival's owner, Cinzia Tinarello, and Edgar Scandura had the honor of seeing Barival crowned the world's longest living cat back in 2018. He is a very special cat for us because he is
beautiful. Like, look at him, though.
shy. When people see him, they are very shocked. But for us, he is a little gift. A big gift, said Edgar. The huge Mogi loves eating biscuits, chicken, and fish, and can often be seen out for a stroll with his owners, sat in a special...
Alright, here we go. Look at him, though. His coat is just gorgeous. Now, she's got to have the ultimate vacuum because that's one shedding kitty.
Cat mobile buggy. Barival has become a local celebrity and even has his own popular Instagram account, but the story doesn't end here. Barival was measured at only the age of 2 years old, and this cat breed will keep growing until around 4 years. So who knows what records could end up being smashed in the future. Number 7. Tiger. If you thought that Barival was a big cat, wait until you get a look at Hercules. In fact, this 922-pound monster cat is even bigger than Hercules could ever have dreamed of becoming. Hercules is a liger, which is a hybrid animal bred from a male lion and a tigress. They do not exist in the wild, as this hybridization makes the big cats infertile.
So he literally has suction on this baby bottle right now.
But all the extra energy seems to go into muscle development, since ligers are the biggest cats there is, and Hercules is the biggest of the biggest. He lives on Myrtle Beach Safari Park in South Carolina.
Stream 85 plus live channels with no hidden fees. YouTube TV. Try it free. When kids have all the right supplies, they can turn an ordinary afternoon into an outdoor adventure.
Where you can reserve a tour and take a look at these amazing animals. He stands 49 inches at the shoulder and is an incredible 131 inches long. The safari park, run by Begovan Doc Antle, is home to all kinds of rare species and hopes to conserve them as the wild becomes more and more dangerous for animals to survive in due to human activities such as poaching and habitat destruction. But maybe it's a relief to all the other big cats in the wild that a giant like Hercules is kept in captivity. This is the real king of the jungle right here. Number 6. Horse. Allow me to introduce you to a Big Jake, the world's tallest horse. The Belgian gelding has become an international celebrity due to his incredible height. Once he has slipped his shoes off, the giant stands over 20 hands high, which is more than 82 inches. When measured in January 2010, he became the official tallest horse in the world. In the years following his record, visitors began to flock to Smoky Hollow Farm in Poinette, Wisconsin to get a look at Big Jake. The steed was born to average size and was not even above average size as a foal. But when he began to grow, he really grew. And he's hungry too, eating 2 buckets of grain and a bale of hay every day. Not only is feeding him a challenge, but housing him is too. Big Jake is just too big for regular horse accommodation. Once a familiar face of draft horse competitions, Big Jake has since retired and is enjoying his days being visited by his adoring fans on his home farm in Wisconsin, hanging out with his horse buddies, who probably look like ants to Big Jake from all the way up there. Number 5. Sheep.
Oh no, this person did not say sheep. Maybe I'm gonna shoot out this. air conditioner off. Because I was getting a little too cool. Alrighty. They said sheep. Okay.
Shaun the sheep, surely the most popular name for sheep worldwide. It just so happens that one of these many Shauns turned out to be the record holder for the world's woolliest sheep. Out in the wilderness of Tasmania, two farmers spotted the free-roaming sheep and couldn't resist trying to get him on the scales to find out how big he really was. Farmer Pitbull Hazel caught up with the 6-year-old ram and believes that he was an escapee who had been roaming free for years. And in that time, he had been growing a pretty impressive coat. Because of his massive fleece, Shaun was easy to catch. The wool had grown over his eyes, and so Hazel was able to sneak up behind the sheep and surprise him. Sheep like Shaun normally need to be shorn once a year, and it's a miracle that Shaun was able to survive so long, especially through summer, with that much fleece. Once they gave him a much-needed shave, they discovered that the wool weighed a massive 45 pounds, which looks like a record breaker. Number 4. Spider. Arachnophobes, skip ahead now. This is the world's biggest spider, and it looks like something from some kind of weird 1980s fantasy horror film. It is a monster of a spider, colored russet brown and black, and it belongs to the tarantula family. These things are obviously colossal and can be as much as a foot wide. They weigh in excess of 6 ounces, and they are as aggressive and powerful as they seem. Known to be extremely defensive when threatened. They will not hesitate to attack, and the fangs are more than large enough to penetrate human skin, up to 2 inches in length in the largest examples. These things are basically like small dogs with 8 legs. They rub their legs together and release a kind of fuzzy hair, which is harmful to humans, causing irritation and itching, and can be extremely uncomfortable for days after. The powerful bite also releases venom, for good measure. Although it is not life-threatening, it's certainly pretty painful. When they are really annoyed, they stand up on their hind legs and hiss by rubbing their legs on their belly. A loud warning noise to whatever is nearby. They are so huge, they eat birds and small rodents. Satan, take them back, please. Number 3. Pig. Out in the Republic of China, or Taiwan as we know it, a popular pastime among the island's rural population is pig raising, and there's always been a competitive spirit among the Chinese of Taiwan to see who could raise the fattest pig of all. Finally, there has been a winner that may never be beaten, a pig weighing a massive 2,100 pounds. This huge weight makes this fat pig the fattest the island has seen in the 200 years since records began. A farmer named Chen Sheng Sung is responsible for this record and the scale-smashing hog. Once he found 20 strong men, they were able to lift the pig onto a truck and drive him to a nearby temple for his blessing. This lazy pig ate so much, it just gave up bothering to walk, liking nothing better than lying down and having food shoveled into its mouth. Hey, who wouldn't? But once this pig had had his blessing, the bad news was that
Scalding hot beach, heat mountain cold refreshment. That's chill.
amount of spiritual guidance was going to save his bacon. Chen slaughtered this giant and fed him to his family and friends, and the rest of the 23 million people in Taiwan for a week. Number 2. Japanese spider crab. You thought that land spiders were big. Just wait until you see the ocean's version of a big creepy thing with loads of weird legs. The giant Japanese spider crab is the world's biggest arthropod. That's a group that includes spiders, crabs, insects, and all that kind of stuff. And this one is the champ. measuring up to 12 feet long and having a weight of over 40 pounds. The
Damn.
body of these crabs measures only 15 inches, so like Giselle Budchen, they are basically all legs. And married to Tom Brady. Wait, no, only the first thing. Anyway, they have 8 giant legs and 2 extra arms for feeding, and they are orange with white spots. Terrifying in appearance, they are actually known to be pretty gentle creatures. The massive legs are armor-plated exoskeleton and protects them from predators such as octopus, and they live mainly on the Pacific side of Japan. And to add further protection, these crabs stick sponges onto their bodies as a form of camouflage, which is pretty cool, like Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob, all in one massive, crazy-looking creature. Number 1. Rooster. We all love a rooster. Anything that screeches louder than a fighter jet at the very break of dawn can only be a lovable animal, right? And as with everything else in the video, the bigger, the better. So how about the Brahma Rooster? They get their name from the Brahmaputra River in India, but the breed's ancestry goes back to China. Either way, they became best known for being the biggest chicken in the coop, and they were the bird of choice in the good old US of A during the 19th century. They come in 3 colors, light, dark, and buff, which is some kind of chicken color, I guess, but also maybe a reference to just how stacked these birds are. Surely this is the breed that Peter Griffin has had so much trouble with all these years. They can weigh 12 pounds, lay brown eggs, and have feathery legs. But due to slow growth, they were phased out as America's #1 chicken back in the 1920s, when industrialization of farming meant chickens had to get to eating size as quickly as humanly, or rather chickenly, possible, but they're still around. So if you hear crowing and then a noise like an earthquake, it might just be a Brahma going for a morning walk. Which of these fat animals did you like the best? Have you ever seen a fatter animal than any of these? Let us know in the comments below. Also, check out our other cool stuff showing up on screen right now. See you next time.
Anyways, man, those are some very interesting and some crazily scary looking animals, creatures. Really don't know what to say about half of that stuff I was looking at. But anyways, with that being said, if you like the video, please like, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned because there will be more. But I would prefer also that you guys pick the videos. I've been the one picking the videos left and right, and I need you guys to get in on this. I mean, there's 54 of you guys watching my videos at least, because I have 54 subscribers. I would really like to get more. Y'all like my videos, like, share, and subscribe. Pass it on. Let other people see. Okay? Alright, let's get these subscribers going, man. Get them going more high up there. I would really like to be able to go live, you guys. Do you know how many people in the world that there is? Like, seriously. I only need 1,000 of them to subscribe. And it costs nothing. It is free. It's just free. Okay. Can I get my subscribers? I don't know. Alright, like I said, if you like the video, please like, share, and subscribe. Appreciate your time viewing my video. And peace out.